My name is Melody Wilkinson, and I'm judge of the 17th District Court here in Tarrant County, Texas.
Hello, my name is Barbara Pelayas, and I am a civil defense trial attorney. I work for Quinteros, Prieto, Wood, and Boyer.
Hi, my name's Andy Jones, and I am a plaintiff's personal injury lawyer. I work here in Dallas for Suing Law.
The court's role related to a personal injury lawsuit, it's to manage the court's docket, manage the case, be available to determine matters that may need to come before the court prior to trial. We hear various motions. The court will rule on those motions. And then, of course, we go to trial and the judge rules on objections and other matters during the trial.
As a defense attorney, a lot of times my motor vehicle accident clients are provided to me from an automobile insurance company. Usually, there is an accident and you make a claim with your insurance company, and sometimes the other party decides to file a lawsuit or make a claim. When that happens, your insurance company will send you a letter or call you or let you know that a claim is being made against you, either pre-suit or there's going to be a lawsuit. When that happens, in that letter, they'll let you know that they have hired a lawyer for you to represent you in this matter.
So the most common injury that anyone really has is a car wreck case. And so that's kind of the example I'm using. So you're in the car wreck, you call the police, you may or may not go to the emergency room, and then from there, you'll get a call from an insurance company or you'll report a claim, and then it might be time to call an attorney. And that is usually several days or several weeks. And then when you contact an attorney, they begin a process where they investigate your claim, figure out if this is something that they can take, and then they engage in a negotiation period with the insurance company.
Some of the very big insurance companies have in-house counsel. Those are attorneys that are employed by that insurance company and they're hired to represent you. Sometimes there's outside counsels. So they're a law firm and they have many different types of clients and many different types of carriers, insurance companies they work with.
From hiring an attorney to filing a lawsuit typically takes about 6 months. That way you have time to do a thorough investigation, negotiate with the insurance company, and potentially resolve it without having to resort to litigation. If that doesn't work out, a lawsuit's filed, and then the case will move from there.
There are often times when parties elect not to proceed to trial by jury, and in those types of situations, then the judge will sit as the trier of fact and will also determine the law. In a jury trial, the judge's role is to rule on matters of law, and the jury determines the facts in the case. But in a bench trial or a non-jury trial, the court will take over the role and be the fact finder and will also determine matters of law.
So the level of involvement that a client should expect from an attorney and the level of involvement that an attorney should expect from their client they go together. So the client is typically responsible to provide information. They're the ones who tell me what happened, where it happened, how they're feeling, what doctors they saw, what their concerns and needs are. And then I'll go out and I'll do everything from request records to negotiate with insurance companies. And if we're in litigation, it's discovery and depos and mediations and trials and all that.
With written discovery, both sides ask each other questions, and we have to answer them. So when we get written discovery sent to us, we will speak to you on the phone and ask you the questions. Sometimes we'll ask you to come in and go over your responses. We draft them. We object to some of the questions that we don't agree with, and then we send it to the other side. Sometimes we'll need documents. For example, the photographs that you took at the scene, who you spoke to following the accident, text messages, social media posts, things like that.
And then after that's done, we have what are called depositions. And those are just sworn conversations under oath. You, the plaintiff, are probably the first deposition. The defense lawyer comes in, they interview you under oath with me sitting by you. They ask you questions about what happened and about your injuries. and they will use that information to evaluate your case, and I will use that information to present your case for the best possible result. To prepare for a deposition, typically clients will meet with their lawyer and they'll go over what a deposition is, they'll go over what factual information is likely to be covered, and then they'll go over some strategies to present well in deposition, how to make the best first impression to be calm, confident, and credible.
So with clear liability cases, and if both sides are being efficient with their time, it's not likely that they'll depose the defendant unless they think unless they think it's necessary in a car accident case. And that's kind of unique situations. But if liability is at issue, what they're going to ask you a lot is, first they're going to go through your background, things about you, who you are, when you were born, when did you get to Texas if you're not from here, when did you get to the area, your history, your job, things like that. Then they're going to go into your driving history in a car accident, in a motor vehicle accident lawsuit. They're going to go about how many accidents you've been in, things like that. How do you drive? If they have your driver's history, they'll go through that. Tickets. They'll ask about your criminal background if you have one. They'll ask about your family, your education.
Before you proceed to a jury trial, many courts in the state of Texas will require mediation. Mediation is a process where all parties appear in a setting outside of the courthouse. It's typically in a mediator's office. If you're represented by counsel, your counsel will be there. If there's an insurance company that's involved, perhaps an insurance company representative will be there, and of course the parties. Cases that are mediated can only be resolved if all parties agree to the terms of the settlement. Some people will say that a successful mediation is one in which no parties are happy with the settlement. In terms of whether or not mediation is a requirement, in the 17th District Court, if a party is seeking a continuance and is not ready for trial, and if that continuance is agreed or unopposed, then that would trigger what this court would entitle mandatory mediation. We have so many cases that are pending in our courts, and mediators have typically a fairly high success rate. And if we can resolve as many cases as possible without going through the litigation process, then typically folks are going to be a little bit happier about the result and not having to sit through what can be a long or anxious or a trial that there may be anxiety and other issues involved.
I try to settle as soon as I get a lawsuit. There's no reason it hinders people's lives with these things if they're able to get it done quickly. Both of us don't want our clients to have to deal with this litigation for a long time, because we both know that these can last for 4 years, 6 years. There's cases that can last for so long just because they're sitting. So with insurance, depending on your policy, your insurance policy, most of the time it says that your insurance company has the right to settle the matter without your authority, within your policy limits. So you do not have a say if a matter settles. I've had clients be very upset because they think they did nothing wrong. They did nothing wrong, and I even may agree with them. But if we're able to resolve it for a fair number, it buys peace. And so that is one of the reasons. It's a business decision, unfortunately. And then other times you do want to get it settled because you know it was your fault and you don't want to be messing with this. And so you, through me, will ask the insurance company, if it's a claim with insurance, like, what can we do to get this resolved quicker? If you're not insured and you're in an accident and you get sued, you can lose your driver's license in the state of Texas. That is why insurance is mandatory, car insurance is mandatory. Because if you do not have insurance and you get in an accident, all of that cost is on you. The hiring the lawyer, paying for fees that may come up, or even paying a settlement or a judgment.